Now, going back to 2019 when the sequel trilogy came to an end, a lot of Star Wars fans had a lot of different opinions on the ending of the actual franchise, or specifically the sequel trilogy, I should say, when it all came down to Rey labeling herself as Rey Skywalker and exactly what happened to Ben Solo. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni is that not only are they focused on Mando Season 3 and 4, as well as the Ahsoka series, but they are also making a lot of changes to the Star Wars canon, and specifically even the sequel trilogy movies, and they're building towards a lot of that. In fact, one prime example has a lot to do with the fact of how they are changing a lot of elements with the sequel trilogy with the upcoming 3rd and 4th season of Mandalorian. Now, on top of all of this, one thing that a lot of fans have been very confused about for the longest time is exactly what happened to Ben Solo at the very end of Episode 9, and there is going to be a lot more answers about this, all, of course, by Favreau and Filoni rewriting specific Star Wars canon material, and everything related to the sequel trilogy ending and more, and exactly what they have planned for the future of the Star Wars universe as a way of really kind of creating new meaning to the ending of the sequels per se. So, on top of that, we already know that everything related to Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams is that for a very long time they were going back and forth on what they wanted to do with the very end of Episode 9. In fact, Daisy Ridley unveiled about 2 months ago that there were over 10 different endings of the Episode 9 movie itself, and they were going back and forth on what kind of reveals they wanted to do and what kind of surprises they wanted to throw in there. However, what Favreau and Filoni currently have planned is actually pretty surprising, is that with Jon Favreau already busy with the new Star Wars TV shows such as Mando 3 and 4 being worked on back to back, as well as the Ahsoka Tano series, currently Favreau and Filoni are making some big changes to the sequel trilogy canon that are going to take fans by surprise. Now, originally, Kathleen Kennedy wanted to make it that Ben Solo died after giving his life force to Rey in order to end the true Skywalker lineage forever. However, now with plans to continue that legacy, Favreau and Filoni are currently rewriting sequel trilogy canon that will change the ending for Ben Solo's fate in Episode 9. As of now, Favreau is about to make a canon that Ben Solo actually went to the world between worlds at the very end of Episode 9. However, in a very strange way that fans will not expect. This fate for Ben Solo is said to involve the world between worlds, and that after Ben Solo gave himself to actually protect Rey and go up against Palpatine when he's thrown into the pit, he actually falls into the world between worlds, which takes place in between both the Netherworld and the Mortar World. Now, with the world between worlds, of course, connected to Exegol and holding a Vergence of the Force underneath its surface that the cultists were trying to research, this has a lot to do with Favreau's decision on making a canon that Ben Solo was trapped in the world between worlds for a very long time, where the Force ghosts of the past teached him the Life Force exchange technique to use on Rey in Episode 9, but however was trapped in the WBW for a very long time. Now, in this realm, time is said to work differently than the regular world, where time moves very slow for Ben Solo. Essentially, Favreau is making a canon that Ben Solo was in the world between worlds for a total of 1 week in his mind, after spending a long time in there, learning techniques from the Force Ghosts, and eventually finding a way out to help Rey in the fight against Palpatine to revive her in the very end of Episode 9. Now, let me just pause here for a second. The thing about this that I find very intriguing is lining everything up with the visual dictionary of The Rise of Skywalker. If you guys actually researched the canon, in there, it specifically states that there is what is called a Vergence of the Force underneath the surface of Exegol. And as we already know, the Vergence is connected to the world between worlds. So you can see how Favreau and Filoni are paying attention to the lore and kind of creating new meaning to all of it and extending it as well, and creating a different scenario for what happened to Ben Solo when he was thrown into the pit. It's exactly why when he's thrown in the pit, it has that weird look to it in the crack. It has a lot to do with the world between worlds. So in Ben Solo's mind, he was down there for a whole week learning from the Force ghosts of the past on how to do the life force exchange technique after, of course, Rey is defeated by Palpatine temporarily, you know, where she defeats him, I should say, and she dies in the process. Ben Solo learns about this during his time down there, and that's when he begins to crawl out. In his mind, a week later, in Rey's time, it's literally just minutes. So it's a very interesting thing of what they're doing with the WBW, the World Between Worlds, and exactly what they're trying to do moving forward. Now, of course, with Favreau and Filoni working on this, and now gaining more power over how canon will be used, it gives them more authority over changing some of the canon material to better fit their vision for the future of Star Wars. Favreau and Filoni are also working on a big revelation of what really happens to Ben Solo after he vanishes. The first is that the Life Force exchange initiates a pregnancy unknowingly, for some reason to continue the Skywalker legacy through Rey. The other will have to do with the true fate of Ben Solo after he vanishes on Exegol. Now, Favreau wants to enhance the ending of Episode 9 by rewriting the sequel trilogy canon in multiple formats to better fit his plans for the future of the franchise with his TV shows that will eventually explore the WBW as well. Filoni is described to also be assisting in the rewrites of the sequel trilogy canon material that involve Ben Solo and the World Between Worlds and where he goes after he falls into the pit. They are about to officially make this happen by mid-2023 for Ben Solo's fate and exactly what happens to him after Palpatine throws him into the pit. So, the thing about this that I think really needs to be addressed is the fact that this just goes to show you that there were little breadcrumbs that were just thrown into the visual dictionary of Episode 9 that hinted at this in the very beginning, but they never really acted on it in Episode 9 as a movie. They never really explained anything, and that's what they're trying to achieve by expanding the canon and rewriting the canon as we know it, and really giving a whole new meaning of what happens to Ben Solo when he's thrown into that pit and exactly how he learned the Life Force exchange technique. And it does really make you wonder, right? They could have done something so simple, like maybe Luke taught him that ability when he was training to become a Jedi. But this makes a lot more sense because, as you all know, this realm has a lot of ties to the Force ghosts of the past. It's exactly why when we have Ezra Bridger entering the World Between Worlds, is that there's a lot of connections to the Netherworld in the canon material if you guys actually read up on it. So overall, I think that this is a great move by Favreau and Filoni by giving new meaning to the sequel trilogy movies and also to everything related to Ben Solo and what happens to him at the very end of Episode 9. So the thing about this also is that we have the Ahsoka series that's going to actually explore this realm, so it could very well have something to do with the Ahsoka series that they're trying to achieve with the whole Ben Solo decision. So overall, guys, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.